Hi everyone. I wanted to focus on how you can start to look for claims if you haven't already started trying to identify where the claims might be in your article. This document that I have up actually houses all three of the articles by Pearlstein and Bidwell and Gibbs Jr. So I'm just going to point out a claim in each of these three articles, okay? So that depending on what you're doing, this presentation will be helpful to you. So I just want to be clear that all three of these authors, even if they are addressing counterargument with their argument, um, none of them are neutral, right? All of them feel very strongly on their own subject matter. So as you write, you'll want to match that tone. And every argument, is kind of hinted at with the title. The title does not accurately portray the argument. It's more like a hint or a stepping stone to get there. You always want to put the argument in your own words, and you always want to ask yourself, does the author have a specific stance on this subject matter about, in this case, liberal arts? How does Pearlstein feel about students studying in the liberal arts and making that part of their career path down the road? So ask yourself that and make sure you complete that idea as, Pearlstein argues that we should or should not, or parents should or should not, da da da, and then you finish that statement so that we get across that position. Now, the argument, I have to talk about argument first because the argument is like the umbrella of the entire article, and that's different from claims. So claims, if you go to your PACES handout that was uploaded from the week 3 module, and this is the handout that describes the differences between purpose and argument. And claims you can look for based on maybe the language. There could be emphasis or self-identification language. There might be some kind of problem solution framework. So that's something you would have to do as a critical reader, is looking for organizational patterns within the text. And I like to look for transitional statements to help find these claims, or I think about the subtopic and try to arrive at a sometimes indirect claim from there. So, for example, if you go to the first page to the top of the second page of Pearlstein's article, this is where he cites Deborah Humphreys, and she has a claim that the students are being pressured by their parents to not pursue the liberal arts, and one of the reasons is because they want to make their parents happy. They're trying to find a happy medium. So this is a claim that is Deborah Humphreys, but it also supports Pearlstein's argument, main argument, right, about the liberal arts. So just be careful how you word it in your paper, because you always want to give credit that, like, this is her claim, right, Deborah's, but it's underneath her that, also it's reinforcing what Pearlstein thinks too. They're both aligned with this idea. Okay. She's just more of the first person claiming this, housed in his article. It's related to a claim that starts to emerge here. And I was noticing as a reader that, you know, parents are sort of being the ones, the finger is being pointed at them. And here's another citation by Christy Buchanan. And there's this idea about helicopter parenting. And so I would say, there's probably a subclaim that's not super direct here, but I can kind of write it in my own words. And I want to, right? I want to get into the habit of writing a claim in my own words, that helicopter parenting is a contributing issue to why, students are not majoring in what they want to major in, especially if it's in the liberal arts. Helicopter, parents should become more aware. You could word the claim as perhaps, let's see. I could probably do a claim from Pearlstein's article. Let me make this font bigger so you can see it. Let me see. Okay, sorry, I was adjusting my font there and my size so you can see it. So one claim from Pearlstein's article is parents should be aware if they are helicopter parenting their kids, right? As they think about, if as it relates to their major. And contributing to the pressure these kids feel when it comes to the liberal arts pathway. And we know that this is supported. This is a specific claim, especially I'm talking about this specific part, because in the article you already have a couple of examples like Deborah Humphreys and Christy Buchanan. So that's how you find one claim in Pearlstein's argument. There are other ones too that you can look for, and I'm not going to say what they are, but look at the structure here. These two paragraphs are all about the topic of unemployment. This paragraph, and I think even the one after it, deals with pay and salary, right? So there are definitely two different claims coming from these two topics. If you're just paying attention to the first sentence in each of these paragraphs to help you understand how he's moving from subtopic to subtopic, right? So make sure the claim always sounds argumentative, not reportive. Just like in my statement, I like to use words like should or should not to capture the stance of what the author is trying to argue within that claim. Okay, I'm going to go on to another article here. Let me see. Excuse me. Okay, so here in the diversity in STEM article, Kenneth Gibbs Jr. has a subsection called What is Diversity? And a lot of you who chose this article did notice that he defines diversity, right? And that's a type of evidence. Wherever there is evidence spotted, you know there's a claim lurking around there somewhere. And so what do you think he's claiming under this subheading, what is diversity? I mean, he goes on for a while beyond just the definition dropped in here in the middle. He really goes into explain what it is, and it really seems to matter to him, right? So maybe we can write down together here, he even uses, we know there's a claim because he even says, I'm a Black man in a field where less than 2% of research grants are awarded to Blacks, but he says, I'm not diverse. An individual can't be diverse. It's about groups. So his own personal testimony or reference contributes to that notion, right? And so one claim from Gibbs, and you can refer to him as Gibbs or Gibbs Jr. throughout your essay, it doesn't matter, article, is that the definition of diversity needs to be understood in the world, especially in the world of STEM, right? Right? So he's arguing that it matters. It matters the way we think about it. It adds to the type of people who get hired within the STEM field, specifically, right? So let's move on to finding claims in the vocational high schools and career path or kiss of death. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find one. So here in the first page of the vocational high school's career path or kiss of death, I was noticing that there is a comparison the author is making between, more European countries versus the US and how the kids are doing out there. And there's even a citation from Stone, and he's even commenting on the fact, hey, the system over there works well. We need to copy them, is basically the implication here. And so that helps us to arrive at that claim that this is not the claim that, oh, it's prevalent in European countries. Yeah, but that's reportive. That's not really, it's an explanatory statement, but it's not enough to really come across what the claim is. You really want to try to put it in your own words. And so I'm thinking about how, well, the author Bidwell seems to be framing this in the way that is saying, hey, US, get on board. You need to be more like these European countries who have their students on this, vocational trade school, different kinds of, education. They have a different kind of education system and preparation method, which sets them up for success. And so we should write that in our notes, that one claim from Bidwell's article is the US needs to adopt a more effective educational system for preparing students. In other words, i.e., we should copy European countries are doing. So we need to change tactics. I'm just kind of putting the claim in my own words. I'm not quoting anything from here. I want to save the quoting. I want to quote actual evidence when it comes to writing the essay, right? So make a distinction to yourself that as we're picking out a claim from each of the articles, and there's several claims in each of these articles, you want to always try to put the claim in your own words. And if you're not confident, if you found a claim, double check that there's evidence surrounding that topic, and then think about the position of that author. Okay. So hopefully this helps you do the discussion board number 4, where you'll need to identify purpose, argument, a couple claims of your own within the articles, and you're trying to evaluate the appeals and also think about audience. Okay, so these are just things you want to think about because they'll all need to be addressed at some point in your essay. And let me know if you have any questions about this, okay? I can also help you if you find a claim and you're not sure, you want to just double check with me, hey, is this a claim? Because claims can become, they're basically sub-arguments, right? Like they're broken down from the main argument, and then claims can become sub-claims. You can get really specific if you want, but just make sure it's not the same as identifying the evidence, because evidence and claims are very different things. Okay? Thanks.